time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
If you want to win in football, it all starts up front. Mass kicks ass.
The High Plains only local sports talk show.
Listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about.
Broadcasting live on Rocket 102.5 and streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Covering it all from the preps.
Up ahead to Blair Lennon. Lennon, the crossover, back to Cure. Hello!
Shotgun snap the mix. Protection is good. Bold loads it up. He's got it. A receiver there. Franklin makes the catch in the end zone. Touchdown, Denver.
The Blitz is presented by Pearl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, along with the insurance agency, the Farmer State Bank in Oakley, the Cowboy Corner Express, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinter, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work.
Well, everybody, good Thursday morning. For the first time ever on the Morning Blitz, as least as I can remember, and it's coming up, believe it or not, on a decade, we are live on location for the Morning Blitz. We have done remote broadcasts from the state basketball tournament. We have done remote broadcasts from all over the tri-state region doing sports, but we have never, ever done a Morning Blitz live on location from the fair. And that's where we find ourselves today, live on location, the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair on the north side of Goodland. And I'm excited to be here. It's a beautiful morning. We've got a great view looking off to the doors here as we get to see everyone get ready for the beef show, which is going to get happening. You heard about, less than 2 hours from now. And so we're out here broadcasting live and excited to be here. Joining me for the next hour, a good friend of the program, former color man for Goodland Cowboy football, and now the OC, Chase Topliff, joins me here with us in the Brig Rolling Radio, as we like to call it. Good morning, Coach. How are we doing today? How you feeling?
Hey, good morning, Ross. I tell you what, a couple of trailblazers here out at the county fair. Watching Oreo, the cow, about ready to get a bath in here, you know.
Do you even know the name of the cows? I really did bring the right person on today.
I don't know if that's true, but he's black and white, so I figured Oreo was the closest thing there. So.
You know, I rolled out here around 6:15 is when I got here this morning. I wanted to get here extra early because I had to get a few more. I mean, I came out yesterday and set up a few things inside the rolling radio, and then I was like, well, I want to make sure I'm here extra early to make sure that if there's anything that just, you know how things happen, things just don't. You work in the school with technology. You know how that can sometimes be. And so I came out here to try and dot all my I's and cross all my T's. And I came out here, and heck, I was still probably number 5 or 6 out here this morning. People were out here extra early getting ready for the beef show. And, you know, there's one thing I got to say that I have been impressed about the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair as I walk through the exhibits and through the beef and the livestock barns. Yeah, there's still a lot of entries. You know, I think across the country we're seeing a little bit of a dip in agriculture and things like that. It still feels like this is about as consistent as I can remember. You know, from year to year, it seems like they're consistently, these barns are pretty darn full. And that cannot be said in other spots.
That's true. That's a mainstay here in Northwest Kansas, especially in Sherman County. And, you know, it's fun to see, you know, when I was a kid growing up, people my age would have their 4-H animals and things out here. And now you see them with their little kids and all their animals and stuff. And, it's something that's a yearly thing. And, teaches kids a lot of cool lessons and responsibility and things. You see a little guy over here in a red shirt,
carrying a red bucket.
Yep. So this is awesome. Yeah, this is awesome.
He doesn't know we're talking about him, even though the speakers are out there. But we are talking about.
Keep it up, young man.
Yeah, keep it going. I mean, like I said, it's a complete team effort. We see I would say a good probably I've seen a good 10 to 15, maybe to 20 people start. I mean, there's way more we can see right now outside working south of the show arena, getting those cows all pretty up. I didn't know how much went into getting things ready to go, especially like high-end beef shows, like the ones where they're worth 6 figures. I did not know for the longest time that you could put cows in a refrigerator to help grow the coat out. Did you happen to ever hear that?
This is a little outside my realm.
Yeah, I mean, I learned that they make these humongous freezers that they put the cows in that helps them grow their coats out so it's extra shiny and stuff. I mean, learn all kinds of things, but this is the very minor league, if you want to call it that, compared to that. This is the more grassroots kind of stuff, but still very cool. So we're out here broadcasting live from the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair here this morning. We'll be here till 8 o'clock Mountain Time, broadcasting here on the Morning Blitz. And we're going to have some fun with being at the fair. And I have found a way to mix and match fair and sports. So coming up later on in the show, we're going to have some fun with the best in show when it comes to Big 12 football. The best in show, since that's what they're going to be competing for here today at the Beef Show, which is going at 9 o'clock Mountain Time. So we'll do the best in show of Big 12 football with Coach Topliff and myself. So stick around. That's coming up here in a little bit. We will get to some other things throughout the rest of the show, including just an unbelievable statistic that happened the past 3 days out in Denver, Colorado, to the Colorado Rockies. We will get to that coming up as well. I still am befuddled that what happened to the Rockies over these last 3 games against the Toronto Blue Jays. So we'll get to that coming up here in a little bit. But with Coach Topliff being here, I wanted to kind of just turn the focus onto him. We're coming up on school. He comes to me and goes, I really appreciate you asking me to come. I need to get back in the routine of getting up and getting going this morning. So I take it summer's been going pretty well.
Yeah, I'm a night owl, so my nights have been late, and I sleep in a little bit, not too crazy long, but sometimes. And I'll tell you what, it's getting close. Next week we have coaches meetings for football, and then the week after that we are full go. So, been trying to get back in the routine, and I can get there pretty quick, but I'm a little worried about my kids. So.
I see them run around at the fair, so I guess they're having a good time, as good as fun as my kids are having now at the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair here the last couple of days. But I'd say, what's the summer been like from the football perspective? Of course, being the offensive coordinator, what has it been like getting ready for this upcoming football season by way of camps? Have you gone helped out with camps, anything like that? What has that been like from your perspective?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's to be honest with you, coaching football is kind of a full year deal. Like, we started in February, we went to some clinics as a staff in Denver, and trying to figure out what we can do as a team through scheme and X's and O's and things. Obviously, we're going to be a lot different than we were last year. And so we started in February. Coach Mosier and I have been working through some things in the spring, and then when we got to June, as soon as school got out, we had maybe a week or 2 off, and then weight room kicked off, and then first week of June we had our team camp here in town. We had close to 50 guys out there learning our new schemes and things like that. And then right after that week, we went to Kearney, Nebraska for 3 days to a full padded team camp. And that was great reps. Those are I know it's summer and kids want to be doing other things, but those 3 days of reps for our team are very, very valuable. You can get, a third of a season of reps in just those 3 days, because it's football all the time. Then you eat, take a nap, and then it's more football. But it's a good time for guys to bond, work on some things, get some film of your guys in the summer, what worked well that you thought might work well, what didn't work so well, and then you can tweak those things throughout the summer.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the amazing thing is, in comparison to when we probably went through it, is that it's right after the school year kind of got done. Bam, we're right into football, and I can see the benefits of that. Where kids are still kind of in the routine of school, still kind of in the routine of athletics, and so why not we just continue to keep it ramped up right there and get into football, and then take this time like we have right now to kind of ease off the gas pedal, give a little break before we go hard in here in the middle of ready for fall camp. So I kind of see it. But it's definitely something I don't remember, because it was more like when school got over, we're done, and then we might pick up a few things throughout the summer here or there.
Yeah, I mean, back when I played, and then I graduated 20 years ago this year, so you can only do one team camp a summer, like with your team. You couldn't go to these outside competitions with your squad, and so we went to the full padded team camp. And then we do some individualized workout stuff, skill development stuff after weights a couple times a week. And then in July, we went to Hayes at Fort Hays State University and competed in a 7-on-7 tournament, passing tournament. There was about 18 teams there. They give you more opportunities. And it's one of those where if right now there's kind of a thing going around, or are we expecting too much of kids during the summer? Um, but at the end of the day, as a coach, you're thinking if we aren't doing this stuff, we're kind of falling behind because everyone's doing it. I know at Scott City they were having almost in the month of June they were having almost 3 full blown practices a week, and
Wow.
just people are doing everything they can to try and get better and see the results of that in the fall. And we're certainly trying to keep a balance for our kids. Of we need to work to get better, but also we understand you have other things going on like raising your 4-H animals or family vacations and things. And so it's tough to balance all that, and you don't always have all your kids that you would like to have. Because of other conflicts they have that they're going to do, which is totally fine. Because at the end of the day, this is just something that's supposed to be fun, but at the end of the day, too, we're trying to compete and get better. So it's tough to balance, but it's been fun. It's been a fun summer.
Once again, we are broadcasting live from the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair here in Goodland on this beautiful Thursday morning as the youngsters and parents alike get ready for the beef show, which will be happening here at 9 o'clock Mountain Time. Chase Topliff is here with me inside the rolling radio as we are broadcasting live here from the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair here this morning. And, you were talking about, and I think this is a fascinating thing about particularly high school football, is that, you can't recruit players. You have to take what you get and make it work as best as you possibly can. And so each and every, and particularly in football, I find this is the ultimate thing, which is once again why I think football is the best sport out there. But you have to find a way to put your guys in the best position to have success. And that means that, sometimes you're going to have to, like you said, the difference between the Goodland Cowboys in this example of 2024 to the Goodland Cowboys in 2025 is going to be vastly different. The offensive line is pretty much completely, offensive and defensive lines are completely gone because of graduation. Your top playmaker is gone and playing Division I football, getting ready to go to Ireland here in a couple of weeks, probably in a week, honestly. There in Manhattan in Lincoln Cure. You had a quarterback who could have probably been a first league all guy in GWAC in Zach Thorson, who threw for a bunch of yards in his senior campaign. All those guys are gone. And so I'm just kind of curious, as coaches, when you sit down and you start to get ready for the next season, how much of it is, okay, what do we have and what do we think will work? And then how do we come up with a game plan to make it work? Because it is going to be a complete overhaul this year.
Yeah, I mean, when Coach Mosier, talked into coming last year, we knew we had some athletes in our skill positions, and obviously everyone knows about Lincoln, and he wanted to spread things out and maybe chuck it around a little bit, and we sure definitely did a lot of that last year. So this team, I think, still has the ability. I think we saw that at the 7-on-7. We finished third. We lost in the semifinals against Hayes. But the last 2 years, we've lost to 3 teams that were 5 and 6A teams.
Twice your size, at least.
I mean, so I think skill-wise, we can compete with a lot of people. But as your intro and at the beginning of the show said, is the football is a game that's won and lost in the trenches.
Absolutely.
And like you said, we have a new offensive line. We have Luke Thomas back, but he played 2 games last year and then was hurt for the rest of the season. So he's coming back. We moved Gavin Price up to the offensive line last year. He was a running back for us. We moved him to the offensive line. Ethan Horenik's been a running back. We're moving him to the offensive line. We have some other young guys that have developed and are going to get their shot here. So, we have some new faces that are hopefully ready to go, because I think at the end of the day, I like our skill positions. We have some speed. We have some athleticism. We have some guys that can catch and run. It's different than last year. Obviously, you lose Lincoln, your best receiver, probably losing our second best receiver because Jackson Miller's going to move to quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, you just have to look and say, hey, what do we have? Who do we really need to get the ball to as a team to see the most success, and then find a scheme that works to mesh all that together. So you'll see some stuff from us that will look very similar to last year, but then also some stuff that you haven't seen here for a while.
And have there been some times, like particularly during that UNK camp, where you're like, you know what, this could work? I think we're going to be maybe not as dynamic. I mean, I think it'd be hard to be that without a Division I football player. Any team would be, but to sit there and be like, you know what? I think we can make this work, and we can be a competitive football team this year.
Yeah, I think I'm very optimistic about our guys. They've been working really hard in the weight room. Cool thing about summer too is you go in with guys like the Chayton Goodwins and Jackson Millers. Braylon Mole Braylon got hurt in the jamboree and came back in game 4 and had a really good.
He played really good.
Season. Yep, and so those are 3 guys that we have coming back that played significant roles on our team last year offensively, and those guys are probably our core guys. But the cool thing about the summer is that we've had some other guys show up and made me think and made Coach Moser and our staff think, hey, maybe this guy can also be a player for us. For example, Joseph Von Lintel.
ABL.
Joseph Von Lintel, 6'5", he's working like crazy to put on some weight and fill out his frame.
It's wiry.
It's getting there. It's getting there. But he had such a great camp at Kearney. He walked away, and a day or two later, he got offered by Kearney.
This is no offense to JBL, but that floored me. That's what blows my mind about today's football is that college coaches, particularly at the lower levels, know that they're probably not going to get the top guys on their want list. So we have to dig deeper and find diamonds in the rough, or find people out here that are like, you know what? I like what I see there. He moves well. He's pretty big. Oh, that size, you move. We can put better weight on you with a good meal plan and our weight program. Let's offer. That's a kid who really hasn't played much varsity football at all at this point. He has a collegiate offer. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, last year his varsity experience for us was maybe getting in on a Friday night on a pass rush situation in defensive end, and he's worked really hard. I always give him a hard time at school. I'm like, what'd you have for lunch and how much did you eat? And that's what I've been asking him a lot. He's been doing a really good job. So, guys like him, Carter Yost, had an injury in track at the end of the year, has been working through that, but he showed up at camp, basketball and football. We got some other guys. Jesus Saucedo is a kid, a senior that not super big, but he's athletic, and I think he'll be able to help us some. And so, yeah, like I said, going in what guys you have, but then also you have some guys that work their tails off and can show you during the summer stuff that they might be able to help you in the fall. And so that's always fun putting that puzzle together too.
No, absolutely. Chase Topliff is joining me here on the Morning Blitz, Goodland Cowboy assistant football coach, offensive coordinator. We are, of course, out here live on location, broadcasting from the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair ahead of today's beef show at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. A couple of things I want to get into before we get to break. I feel like we could talk a whole hour on stuff with you, Coach, because I feel like we have that good rapport. We spend enough time in the broadcast booth together. But a couple things I want to talk to you about. We'll stick with the Goodland side of things here. We know Coach Moser's back, but you also help with basketball, and we have a former Cowboy coming back to run that program in Dawson Raymer. I'm kind of curious what it's been like to kind of see him come back and come full circle, from being a player to going off doing his thing, coming back and being now the head coach here. I was curious what that's like to work for him and in that dynamic.
I'll tell you what, I've had some deja vu this summer.
I bet so.
When I first came to town, I coached for 6 years under Dawson's brother Donnie,
yeah.
And so I've seen a lot of similarities, like mannerisms and stuff. And I just it's been fun. But yeah, Dawson's a guy that I coached when he was in high school and through junior high and stuff. And when he comes back, prior to moving here, when he'd come back, we'd go grab dinner and talk or whatever, and fill me in on how he was doing down there. And one thing he said to me, we talked about this. We play a lot of golf together too, and one thing that he said to me, he said, "Coach T, one of these days I'm going to be a head high school basketball coach. When that happens, I want you to come be my assistant." And I said, "Well, let me get my kids graduated, and I'm kind of free to go wherever. But then after that, wherever you're at, if you got a spot, I'll
be
look
there."
into coming."
Mm-hmm.
And so we both at one point brought that up during golf this summer, and we didn't we didn't think it would be here, but here it is. So, but it's been good. It's been difficult for him because he trying to make a move, finding time where we could go. Coach Dahl had our full summer schedule made up, and we had to move some of that stuff around just because of the transition we made between Coach Dahl and Coach Raymer, and um, we got a few days with our guys to just put in offensive and defensive philosophy, very vanilla offensively. But then we played Colby tournament, 2-day Colby tournament, and then we played a 2-day tournament in Baldwin, just south of Lawrence, all in a matter of about 5 or 6 days. So we got a lot of basketball in, and it's been pretty fun. So Coach Raymer's going to bring a lot of energy, a defense first guy, wants to play fast. So obviously we've lost some very significant guys off of our roster. We're going to, just like you said on the offensive line for football, is we're going to have some new guys in. Basically, Braylon Mole, a returning starter, will be back, and Jackson Miller played some for us varsity level last year. But other than that, we're going to be pretty fresh.
Yeah.
But the standards are still high for our program. Our kids know that people are going to be counting us out this year after a really incredible 2-year run that we've had, and they've been working pretty hard to make sure that when the season rolls around, we're ready to go.
Yeah, it's got to be such a unique dynamic to have a kid that you coach come back and now you work underneath him.
It's got to
be such a unique dynamic.
It is
Okay.
for sure.
We got to get to the break here in just a matter of minutes, but I want to get your thought on this because I think this is the biggest storyline going into this upcoming school year for a lot of Northwest Kansas, and that is, I feel like we have a turning of the page. It's a whole new chapter now. I mean, this last chapter, the last 2-3 years, it doesn't matter if you want to talk about Brady Brumbaugh, Lincoln Cure, Guy Tubbs, Jackson Rumford, the list goes on and on. An amazingly athletic and highly skilled senior class has left and has gone on to other things, whether it's sports or not. And now we usher in this new era of unknown. We don't know. We know some of the names, but they weren't asked to be humongous pieces. And not only on the court and in the classroom is that happening, but also in the administration side and coaching side. Like I said, Coach Dahl is gone. Lakin's head coach, Nate Schmidt, he's gone. There's plenty. Stevens at Colby, gone. Now his son Reed did replace him, but I mean, there's a whole new bunch of coaches and a whole new bunch of athletes. It feels like it's a whole new book or a whole new chapter coming up this year, and I think it's going to be the biggest storyline on who becomes those next good players. Because boy, we just ushered out an amazing generation.
I'll tell you what, the talent level in this. I will say this, and I've said this to people when I go visit back east and family and friends, and the GWAC is one of top to bottom, probably the best, one of the best athletic conferences in the state, regardless of size. Now, there's some really strong 6A and all that, but I'm talking when we get down, you talking mid-level 3-4A, like you have to bring it every single night in the GWAC, and it's because we have really good coaches, we have fantastic players, especially this past year. My goodness, like you said, so many guys that and ladies in our GWAC conference that are going on to play at the next level.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It's going to be some new faces for sure. We're going to see some people that maybe have played JV last year that break out on the varsity level this year. So I still think that the strength of our conference is going to be there. It's just going to take us a few weeks to learn the new faces.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be different, very, very different. We've just kind of been building towards that climactic point, I should say, of last year, and now we kind of start all over to an extent. I mean, there's going to be a few pieces like, oh yeah, they played a role. I mean, kind of like your Moles and your Jackson Millers and Goodland Caseys and the Jordan Joneses, who I think is probably one of the bigger stars in the GWAC right now. But yeah, I find it fascinating. I think that's going to be the most interesting story is now that all these great players and athletes have left, who picks up the slack to try and keep this league at the pinnacle where it's been for such a long time. I think it's a fascinating conversation. So anyway, he's Chase Topliff, and we're out here broadcasting live on the Morning Blitz from the Northwest Kansas District 3 Fair. Great to see all the youngsters out here getting ready for the show. and seeing everybody get prepared for a big morning here. 9 o'clock Mountain Time is when the big show gets going from the Northwest Kansas District Tree Fair. So if you come on out and support the kids, if you want to stop by and say hello to us, we're out here broadcasting from the big rolling radio just south of the show barns and stuff. So stop on by. We'll take our first break. We come back. We're going to tie in the fair and college football. It's best in show in the Big 12. That's next here on the Morning Blitz. Once again, glad you're joining us here on the Morning Blitz. 7:37 Mountain, 8:37 Central Time on this Thursday, August the 7th. It's going to be a hot one today, folks. Temperatures going to be rising up to almost triple digits. Into triple digits in some areas, very high double digits in most areas. Going to be a couple of days ahead here on Thursday and Friday on the high plains. And so, as we say, let's try to beat the heat. Stay inside if you can and drink plenty of water. Stay hydrated out there today. So, but glad that you're with us here on the Morning Blitz. Ross Volkmer and Chase Topliff with me here. Goodland Cowboy assistant football and basketball coach has been kind enough to join me today out at the fair. I wanted to come on for a segment. He said, "I'll just come out for the whole show." Great, love it. Summertime and sports talk radio, and let me tell you, it's not a whole lot of fun. It's very hard, particularly when you're talking with yourself.
There's not a lot of sports out there right now.
And when the Rockies are as bad as they are, which we'll get to that in segment 3, an unbelievable showing that they had against the Blue Jays. You will not believe the stats if you have not heard them. It's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, we are going to get things going again here and pick things up with a little bit of fun here on the Morning Blitz. And I wanted to do something. I wanted to find a way to since we're here broadcasting before the B show for the Northwest Kansas District Paper, I wanted to find a way to tie in the fair and sports. So I felt help from my number one co-host when I don't have anybody else, ChatGPT. We came up with the idea of Best in Show, and we're going to tie in the Best in Show in the 12. And so I'm going to do this based upon this. I came across this article on Twitter. It's my number one resource for all kinds of information, but Opta Analyst, which is kind of like the supercomputer that runs a whole bunch of simulations based upon information that they gathered last year, based upon information. So it's a supercomputer, and they go out and they make their predictions for how they think the Big 12 will finish, how they think the Big 12 will finish offensively, defensively, all that stuff. And so I want to run through that right now. So let's start with Best in Show. So Best in Show being the top team in the Big 12, and according to this Opta Analytics, they think Kansas State will be the best team this year in the Big 12. They believe that they've got everything they need to win, particularly offensively with Avery Johnson at the quarterback spot, and defensively they've got some pieces. Now they're going to have to answer some questions, hopefully with guys through the portal and through the recruiting class, with guys like Lincoln Care possibly. But they think they're going to be possibly the best in show this year in the Big 12 is K-State football. Would you have anything to say against that, Coach? I know you follow the Big 12 pretty closely as well.
I do. Right now, if I had to make a selection, being a KU guy myself, sorry, Lincoln, I would say K-State is up there. I know others are saying Arizona State just because of the season they had last year too. But as far as what you kind of need, K-State is just always in the mix. That's just how their program is. They pay attention to the details. This is how we do it here. The big questions for K-State, though, I think from people around the state that I talk to is the offensive line. They lost some guys up front, or they got some good guys in. Can they mesh together? And then also, can Avery Johnson take that next step?
Yeah, right. That's gonna be to me. That'll be the biggest thing.
The biggest thing.
Yeah, can he go next?
If he can take the next step, then I think they have a shot. I would say they are probably one of the favorites to make the Big 12 title game and a college football playoff contender.
I love this quote from this article. It says, "He's electric when he's good, and he's brutal to watch when he's bad." That's Avery Johnson, is what they said, which may be a little bit harsh. They were talking about the 2025 preseason rank for Kansas State. According to this article, they have the 5th best offense in the Big 12 and the 3rd best defense here for 2025 is this article. So best in show, with this being at the fair, Kansas State. The reserve champion, 2nd place, according to this article, they're going with Baylor. Baylor is the 2nd best team, they think, in the Big 12. And I get why. If you looked at the numbers of Sawyer Robertson, their quarterback, you would know why. That guy is highly accurate, highly efficient, and they return a lot of guys from last year's team. They were kind of a silent team last year. Dave Aranda sounded like he was in some trouble a couple of years ago, and last year just silently kind of just got rid of the critics because they had a really solid year, and this year they're hoping to build upon that, it sounds like.
Yeah, a sneaky team, like you said. KU went on that crazy run at the end of last year and beat 3 ranked teams in a row to get the 5 wins, and then had to go play at Baylor last game of the season to try and get the bowl eligibility. And no one had really talked about Baylor all year long. And I thought KU has a chance to get in here and make a bowl game after that 1-5 start. And Baylor just destroyed them. And it was Baylor has a sneaky team that can do really well. As the family, Ross
There
Volkmer
they go. The
family
Volkmer
rolls
family
by.
rolls on by. Morning, guys. Hi, honey. Yeah, that's awesome. Love you guys. Have a good day. I'll see you guys later. Okay, they're listening.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would have put Baylor there. I'm intrigued again with Arizona State. I like their quarterback. Dillingham showed that he can recruit. Now we're just going to see if they're a flash in the pan or from last year, or if they've built something. So I don't know. Baylor, a good pick. I mean, I don't think I would have put Baylor at number 2 or reserve champion, but that computer's probably a lot smarter than me.
Well, I mean, once again, this is the thing that I say about college athletics in general is how the heck do you know until probably about week 4? It used to be
Absolutely.
you used to know because, well, we have this class and they really improved this last year and they're coming back and they didn't jump to the pros. We know they're back. We know what they've done. I think they're going to get better. You don't know because every year it's kind of like starting over to an extent. You know some pieces, but you're bringing in completely new pieces. How does that all mesh together? It could be great. It could be horrific. You have no idea. So every year, that's why I was the Big 12 this year didn't do a preseason poll, and I loved it because I don't think there should be preseason rankings. It should not come out until probably week 4. Let's see 4 weeks of games, then let's make a decision because otherwise you're just automatically giving teams an automatic head start, as the Big 12 had said before, and I totally agreed before that. It said you're getting automatic head starts. Doesn't matter if it's in the Big 12, if it's across the country. You're already saying, well, Alabama's a better team. Well, how do you know? You need to watch some games to figure that out.
That's good for Big 12 too because there's such a deep conference. Like, do we have a top tier team like the SEC or the Big 10? No. But last year, I'll tell this is exactly what I'm talking about. On paper, before the season started, as a KU guy, we're excited about the season. Bring a lot of guys back.
Yep.
Let's make the
High
next step.
expectations.
They had the quote unquote easiest schedule in the Big 12 last year, and then at the end of the season, when they recalculate things, it ends up being the most
Exactly.
difficult.
So you just don't know.
I think that's just the way this conference is.
I think it's the way it is a lot of places, honestly. Yeah. I mean, you don't know until you actually, because of, once again, every year the rosters turn over. You just don't know what hits, what doesn't hit. But anyway, they had Baylor number 2. Where it gets interesting, and we'll get to that in just a minute here, is Kansas actually is number 3. And if you look at their graphic, they actually have Kansas with the most wins in their playoff projector, with 8.6 wins this year over Texas Tech, who has 8.5, Kansas State, who's got 8.5, Arizona State 8.4, and Baylor 8.3. There's 5 teams with 8 wins, which that's going to be the Big 12 almost every year, it seems like, for the time being.
Well,
you just don't know.
I hope that computer is right. We thought that last year too, and it didn't work out. But
I think the biggest reason for Kansas having that spot is the schedule. Like you said, I think it's pretty good this year. And according to the computer, they're going to have the number 1 offense in the Big 12, they think.
I might have to pump the brakes on that one. Okay, listen, we got 6th or 7th year Jalen Daniels coming back. He needs to stay healthy, and I'm a big fan of Jalen, but he was not good in the first half of last season. Turning the ball over. They had a new offensive coordinator that I think was struggling to mix with the guys they had. That's the thing that gives me some hope. Coach Grimes, who actually made the OC last year, I had a really good relationship with him as they were recruiting Lincoln. He called me probably 2 times a week for 6 straight months. He's in Wisconsin now as the OC, but they brought back they gave Coach Zabrowski, the QB coach, the OC, co-OC with Matt Lubick, who comes back to KU from OC at Nevada. And those guys will head up, and they had a big hand in the offense when Andy Kotelnicki was the OC. He's now at Penn State, right? And they schemed tight ends open. The scheme was super strong, and I think we're going to get back to more of that pre-snap shifts and motions and things like that. So I do have very high hopes for this KU offense.
So once we kind of skipped this over, they talk about best in breed. We're kind of tying it into the fair since we're broadcasting Northwest Kansas District Free Fair. So best in breed, top offense, top defense. Like I said, the computer says it's going to be Kansas apparently. And once again, I'm with you. I don't know if I totally see that or not, but that's what the computer says. And I don't know. The defense blew my mind. They say computer-wise says Houston could have the best defense this year, which I don't see that in any way, shape, or form. But whatever. I don't know what this computer has. Anyway, I just thought it was fascinating that they brought this stuff up based upon how they think it'll all go. I want to get your thoughts at the Showmanship Award, which is going to go to the best player or the best player in the league. If you had to do an MVP, who would you put that on? I'll tell you, I'll go first because I think it's going to be Utah quarterback Evan Dampier. I wasn't real high on him initially, but I learned recently that his offensive coordinator at New Mexico went with him to Utah or vice versa. He went to Utah and Evan Dampier followed him. And he put up a whole bunch of numbers down at New Mexico, both running and passing. And if he does that at Utah, and I know it's a step up in competition, I still feel like he can have a monster year statistically.
Well, and Utah is they took a step back last year being in the Big 12, but they have a really good coach that's been there for a long time, and I could see that happening. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be a quarterback in this league, and there's some really good ones. BYU just lost their quarterback, but you have him, you have Avery Johnson. I think if he takes the next step, he could be the next Heisman type candidate. I think Jalen Daniels is hungry to avenge last year that he had. Finally healthy, finally ready to go. But gosh, there are some really good, not huge name. There, who's the Arizona State quarterback?
Sammy Levin.
Yeah, and he showed out last year.
Yeah, he was great.
Iowa State has a really good quarterback. There's so many good quarterbacks.
Rocco Beck, by the way, for
Rocco
those.
Beck. Yeah, they have so many good quarterbacks here. I don't know if I could pick one. If I had to, I'm going to say the MVP comes from the state of Kansas. I think it'd either be Avery Johnson or Jalen Daniels. That would be my pick.
Yeah, I mean that's all fine. I just want to give out some numbers for Devin. I said Devin Dampier. Last year at New Mexico, over 2,700 yards passing, over 1,100 rushing, so 4,000 total yards, and a total of what would be 33 touchdowns. It's a big time numbers.
That's
now, once again,
numbers.
a jump up in competition could damper those a little bit, but man, I think he could have a huge year in Devin Dampier. We're talking best in show. We're here at the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair and talking about the Big 12 football as well. Who do you think is going to be possibly the team at the bottom end of the Big 12, the low end, the one who gets the white or the red ribbon here at the fair? According to the computer, they think Oklahoma State, which once again, I don't know if I see that. I just don't know if I can see Mike Gundy having that bad of a year again. And if he does, he's probably not going to be there next year.
He's on his last lifeline, I think, there in Oklahoma State. He even had, I think
they have them predicted to win 4 games.
Yeah.
4, which is what they did. They did 3 last year. That just seems nuts to me.
Yeah, and we just talked about Devin Dampier, and they have Utah
at 5.
Them at 5 wins, 14. I mean, you look at the bottom 4 teams in this. Let's go 5. You have Cincinnati at 12, Colorado at 13, Utah at 14, Arizona 15, Oklahoma State 16. We talk about. I think this league is all very, very comparable.
Yep.
And so to be honest, if I had to, they have UCF at 6.5. I could see UCF being the bottom.
Oh, I could see that too.
I mean, I just think this league is so competitive and balanced that you got to bring it every week. And if you have a couple rough weeks, man, you find yourself, fighting for even just bowl eligibility.
I think if the boulder gets rolling downhill, it's going to be hard to stop. And that's kind of what happened to Oklahoma State last year, and even Utah. You got injuries, lost a couple of early games, and it was hard to get the momentum stopped. So,
my sleeper team, Texas Tech. They spent and
ton of money.
They're ranked
number 2 in this. Yeah,
gosh, we haven't even talked about them, but they got some billionaire donor that is just going crazy in the portal, giving this NIL money to these kids. They picked up some big time players, so interesting to see what happens in Lubbock too.
I saw an article that talked about the 3 most impact transfers in the Big 12 or something along those lines, and all 3 were at Texas Tech. So I mean, they're kind of a sleeping giant. I think they could be getting awoken within this new era of college football because of the money that oil money.
Yeah, the oil money
is going to pay big for Texas Tech. That's right. I don't know. Just like I said, that was an edition of Best in Show. We're here at the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair ahead of the 2025 beef show happening here at the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair, broadcasting live from the Rolling Radio. And People have been out and about since 5:45, 5:30 this morning. Out here at 6:15, people are out here getting their calves and cows ready to roll, and as they get that beef show coming up at 9 o'clock. So, and they just see people continue to pull in, and wish everybody the best of luck. But we're going to take our final break. When we return, we have got to wrap up the show with some ridiculous stats from the Rockies. Another edition of ridiculous stats for the Colorado Rockies. You will not believe what happened to them yesterday in a series loss to the Blue Jays. It's next here on the Morning Blitz. Back here for the final 6 minutes or so of this live on location remote edition of the Morning Blitz. It's the first ever time we've broadcasted remotely for the state basketball tournament. We've done a few other things as well, but first time we've done it from the county fair, and that's where we are today here at the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair. Chase Topliff along with me here this morning as once again the beef show at the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair will get rolling at about 9 o'clock Mountain Time. Did you happen to stay up and watch the drone show last night? Did you happen to catch that?
I did. That was pretty awesome.
That was pretty neat.
I mean, awesome.
I didn't know what to expect. They had a drone show, probably 100 drones. I'm guessing that's what it was. And it was pretty sweet to watch those things. I mean, it's amazing what technology. Honestly, I'm going to say something ridiculous that my wife would probably say, Ross, you're terrible, but I like it more than fireworks.
I kind of had the same. I was like, this is almost better than fireworks. I said that last night watching over there. Yeah, it was very, very entertaining. It was only about 10 minutes. Those batteries don't last super long, but my gosh, man, it was cool.
Yeah, I think it was about 15. I think it did about 15 minutes worth, and but I thought it was really interesting. So shout out to the fair board and all that stuff. I thought it was really cool. But tonight you've got the beef show, round robin showmanship. That's at 2:30 this afternoon. Round robin showmanship show ring 3 o'clock. You've got some. Then of course this evening you've got the ranch rodeo and the carnival is open. And then, of course, Friday, you've got the demolition derby and the carnival again. So, yeah, and the livestock sale, all that's coming up here the final 2 days. I guess there's stuff on Saturday, of course, with the Tri-State Royal Champions coming here, as they always do. But, yeah, it's a very fun time. I know my kids enjoy it thoroughly. So much that I'm worn out most of the time by the time I get done.
We've been here every night, my kids and I, so sure we'll be here again this evening.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that. I wanted to get to something here real quickly before we get out of here and move on. I wanted to get to something talking about the the Rockies. And I don't know if anybody else saw this from yesterday. If you follow baseball, you certainly did. But it was a series for the ages out in Colorado here this past 2-3 days. The Blue Jays swept the Rockies this past 3 days in just absolute unbelievable fashion. In case you were curious on the final scores of this series, the final scores of this series were Toronto winning 15-1, Toronto winning 10-4, and just for good measure, they win 20-1 yesterday. So when you add all that up, the absolutely were unbelievable. 45 runs were scored in this series by the Toronto Blue Jays, and they finished with 63 hits in the series. That is the most by a team in a 3-game set in 125 years. 1900. I mean, we're in the year 2025 in the highest level of baseball, and you're giving up 63 hits in a series. Oh my goodness. That was what blew my mind 2 days ago when I saw it. I was like, 25 hits? I mean, yeah, 10 runs, I get it. 25 hits? Oh my goodness. I could not believe it. And now to see that and I was watching something and I caught a score along the ticker yesterday and I was like 14-1. Oh my gosh, again? I mean, I couldn't believe it. 63 hits and 45 runs in a 3-game series. It's the 6th time in franchise history that they've scored at least 20 runs. That's for the Blue Jays. I mean, that's just absurd. I can't believe it. I was trying to think, like, if the Rockies have the worst record in all of Major League Baseball in history this year, that's probably going to be the worst statistic that you could come up with. But this is going to be a really close second place for that kind of series. Wow. It's not even competitive.
They're on an all-time generational run right now. And I got to shout out to my guy, Gannon Eyrig. Gannon Eyrig might be the biggest Rockies fan that I've ever known in my life.
Well,
He is watching every game he can.
Gannon's liquor cabinet is really low.
Gosh.
I can guarantee it.
I'll tell you what, he will always mention when we have a conversation, like we'll be playing golf or we'll be sitting around having a drink or something, and he'll bring up the Rockies and he'll talk about how bad they are, but then he'll also, have some bright spot. Well, I bet it was tough after that series.
I don't think there were any bright spots. It was so bad they had to throw a reserve catcher to finish out the 9th, and he ended up giving up, I think, 8 or 9 runs. It's never good when you got to have a position player out there throwing. Never good. Once again, 63 hits in a 3-game series and 45 runs allowed by Colorado pitching. Tell you what, that whole team hit the liquor cabinet hard last night. I would have. That was rough.
I need to get out there and find the next Henry Rowan Gardner.
Gardenhoser. Gardenhoser. Get out here, Gardenhoser.
With the tryouts.
Oh my goodness. I just I cannot believe that. It's just absolutely nuts. I still can't. It's just crazy. So anyway, a ridiculously bad stat again for the Colorado Rockies. It's never good. All right, we are up against the clock. Got to get out of here. It's time for the walk-off.
High drive, deep left, grand slam! And that lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off three? Davis to the 10. Difference going on in New England. They win it on the first play in overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hartman, jackpot, Kansas City.
Can you tell me, do you understand the whole deal about the smelling salts with the NFL? So the NFL ruled that they're not going to allow smelling salts. Then they changed the rule because there was such an outrage saying, well, we're not going to provide it, but the players can bring their own. I can't believe this is such a big topic in the NFL, smelling salts is. I didn't know it was that big of a thing anymore.
I didn't either. I saw that yesterday. The headline was NFL allows smelling salts, but they better bring their own stash.
Yeah, players got to bring their own stash. That's just ridiculous. I didn't know it was such a humongous thing amongst the players. I just thought that was completely crazy. But anyway, no Royals, no Rockies tonight. They are both off. Royals, by the way, get a win over the Red Sox to salvage a game. Jonathan India with a 3-run homer over the Green Monster, kind of the highlight of that game. But yeah, that'll do it for it was a fun day. I love going on remote. I love broadcasting remote. So having the rolling radio out here at the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair was a lot of fun. And really appreciate you, Coach, coming out and spending time with me today. It's way more fun to have a show when you have someone to visit with.
Hey, anytime, Ross. I love.
Well, I tell you what,
doing
if you want to join me tomorrow, you just let me know.
Okay.
We'll make it work. I tell you what, you've got an open invitation if you want to get up, if you want to get back in that routine.
We got to get back in that routine, baby. School's coming, and I'll tell you what. Here's my walk-off. Football is back, baby.
Oh my gosh,
The Hall of Fame game last week, and then there we go. The preseason.
Yeah, that's
kicking
coming
off
up here
full
Friday
bore.
and Saturday.
Let's go. Let's go.
It is great. I am super stoked to have football back. And this Saturday, we are 2 weeks away from Dublin, where we kick off the college football season and other things as well. KU plays on that same Saturday as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Glad football is back. So, for Chase Topliff, I'm Ross Volkmer. Best of luck to all the Beef Show participants, everyone else finishing up things here at the Northwest Kansas District Free Fair. We're back again tomorrow, 23 hours. Hope you join us. It's been the Morning Blitz.